what's going on, everybody? It's Kale. We're back here with another video. And I know for a lot of y'all, this is your first time, actually seeing what I look like. Recently moved into a new place, and so now I can have a more legit setup than I used to have. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be telling the story of how, I'm currently in my new place, of how at 22 years old, 9 days after I left college, I was able to get my own place. So be sure to stick around to the end of this video. This is a great story, and hopefully it can inspire some of y'all. So yeah, like I said, 22 years old, I technically got my keys, my keys to my new house, 9 days after I left college. So, I mean, it didn't happen pretty quickly. The whole house searching process took me, a little over 2 months. I started 2 months before I got this place now. And my process was sped up just a little bit. There's a whole nother story, kind of like a prequel to this story, that I can tell you about. If you let me know down in the comments if you want to hear about it. They kind of sped up my process just a little bit. But yeah, like I said, 22 years old, 9 days after I left college, I was able to get my own place. I should also say this too before we really get into the story, that I am renting. My name is not on the deed. I did not get a loan for a few $100,000 to buy this house. I am renting. I'm a tenant, so I pay my landlord, but in between me and my landlord, it's a property manager that, as the title suggests, manages the property. I call them when something breaks or something's wrong, or something's not right. That's who I paid, and they pretty much take care of everything. They manage and run the property. The owner is just the person whose name is on the property, for documentation purposes. And a lot of landlords, have a property management companies because they don't want to get calls at 2 in the morning. They don't want to come out to the house 1,000 times a day, so they'll just hire somebody else to run the property and give them a little cut of that. So it's very common. But yeah, so I guess where I started is that I started looking for this place, or a home, so to speak, roughly 2 months before I got it. And like I said, there's a whole prequel story as to why that process was sped up a little bit. If you let me know in the comments, I can definitely go over it and make a separate video for you guys. Wouldn't mind sharing that story at all. But yeah, so roughly, it took me a little over 2 months to find the place I'm at now. I began searching when I was in college at my graduate school in Ohio. So as a lot of y'all know, I played basketball, obviously. Played basketball. COVID gave all the athletes, every athlete, free year. So, my junior year didn't count, so I got another year, and I used that to go to a grad school in Ohio. And my last 2 months there, that's when I really began job hunting for jobs in North Carolina and houses in North Carolina. That's where I'm from. I'm from Charlotte. And I knew I wanted to move back to North Carolina, First it was Charlotte, then it really wasn't. But I knew I wanted to move back to North Carolina just because I like the state. It's where I'm from. And so, yeah, so I was in Ohio looking for North Carolina homes. And I knew I wanted to kind of, maybe not a major city, but I knew, I guess I kind of knew cities I didn't want to live in. I wanted to live, either in Charlotte or near Charlotte. I knew that because that's just where I'm from, and that's more than likely why I wanted to work and stuff. But yeah, on to, I guess how I got my first place. So throughout this video, I'm going to show pictures and clips, just me talking over it, showing off places I went, the home and stuff itself, when I first got it. But yeah, it was as simple as, just typing in places to rent. Or I started out looking for homes to buy, and I think that was my biggest mistake. That's why I wasted a lot of time, because, it's hard enough to get a place out of college, whether it's to rent or own, because, especially for me, a college athlete, I've only ever worked part-time jobs. I've never had a full-time, 40 hours a week, 2 years stable income. It's always been part-time jobs for a few months in the summer. And yeah, so when I first went to a bank, the guy was nice to me. He set me up an account and all. We got to talking, but very quickly I learned that I'm probably not gonna be buying a home just because I don't have enough stable, proven stable income. Now, if I had got a job that started off paying, upwards of, north of 60K, I probably could have bought a home then. If it was a salary-based job, making at least 60K, okay, I could have got a home. So it's not impossible, coming out of college, if you get a really good paying job, and it's stable income, it's salary based, your chances of getting approved for a loan to buy a home are very high. I think I'm talking about I've experienced it over these past few months. So I'm not making it up. I'm not a financial advisor or a house expert. I do want to get into real estate, but at least the stuff I'm telling you is stuff I've done myself. For me, I very quickly learned that I'm probably going to be renting my first year, just because once I get, I don't have the stable income, so to speak, but once I get that income coming in for a year or two, it'll be easier for me to say, okay, look, bank, bank A, here's my last two years of, I guess, pay stub, so to speak. You know my income is stable. It's only going to go up every year how much I make. What can we get approved for? So, you know, they're more flexible to work with that if you have stable income proven and documented for years. So, yeah, like I said, you know, I started off renting, and after, you know, I won't say wasting time because it was a learning experience. And, you know, I won't count that as me wasting time because I learned a lot during that time. But after, you know, going through the whole realization that I'm not going to be buying a home, I'm going to be renting my first year, my house search changed a little bit. You know, I started looking for, obviously, houses to rent. For me, I knew I didn't want to spend more than $1,500 for rent. So, I mean, you know, and just a little bit of advice, you know, the more parameters you know, the easier it is. Like, if you know where you want to live, what type of property you want to be. Do you want to be an apartment, a multi-family home, a single-family property, a trailer, two-story home? The biggest thing is how much do you want to spend in rent. Like, if you know what your limit is, like if you want to spend a minimum of $1,500 or a maximum of $1,500, you can, you know, pick a side of the fence and stick on it, so to speak. But I mean, it's as simple as downloading certain apps like Keller Williams Real Estate, Zillow, Trulia. I mean, there's 1,000 different apps you could use to find places to rent. I mean, you can just Google places to rent in LA. Places to rent in LA under $1,500, $2,000. Sometimes you can just Google places to rent in X city. Go to the website that it recommends, and then just put in the filters that you want. So I mean, it's not hard to find. It's not hard to find the locations and the properties. Like that part is easy because you have Google, you have the internet at your fingertips. You can find places in cities that you want to live. However, finding, you know, the place that fits the best in your budget, reaching out and getting a response back from the property manager or the landlord, that's the process that takes a while. You know, applying, you know, for me, and everybody's different, but for me, I wanted to see the house in person before I moved here or, you know, paid an application fee. From my understanding, almost every property management company, every landlord charges an application fee. It's something you can't avoid. It's really because, you know, they're paying to do a background check and all that stuff, so they're paying a third party to do that, but they also make a little bit of profit. So you're going to be paying an application fee for the most part, unless you know somebody and they can waive it for you. But that wasn't my case. My case, I had to pay one, but I knew before I, you know, wasted my money, I wasn't going to pay for an application fee for a property I went to and didn't even like. So yeah, I'll make sure I toured, you know, multiple properties. I drove, not all across North Carolina, but I drove to many different locations, spent, you know, I guess in total hours driving, just looking at properties, seeing that I like the city, that I like the neighborhood, that I like the property itself, what would I want changed, what would I want added, how far was it from my potential job, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of things to keep in mind, you know, especially, I mean, I guess if you work from home, you can, you know, kind of cut back on some of those factors because, you know, you don't have to leave the house to make income. But I didn't want my place to be more than 30 minutes from my job, so, you know, my drive wouldn't be too bad. I think right now, I'm a little over 20. I think I'm at 25 minutes. That's not bad. I don't mind making that drive. But yeah. So after I, you know, start looking at places to rent, I'm actually blessed enough to be really good friends with a real estate agent. And a lot of people, you know, I want to get into real estate, and that's a whole separate video, separate story time that I can definitely do for y'all. You know, if y'all get some good feedback on this one, just tell me what y'all want to hear. I have no problem making those videos. But I'm really good friends with a real estate agent, and so she actually helped me find my place. Like, you know, she's a real estate agent, and people think it's just selling or buying homes, but it's more than that. It's renting. They can do commercial properties. You know, if you want to start a business, buy a commercial building and then rent it out to other small businesses. Like, real estate agents can do a lot for you. So yeah, I got a real estate agent I'm really good friends with, and she helped me find this place. You know, she talked to the property manager for me. She came and looked at the property for me. After I, you know, signed my lease and, you know, moved in, she helped me install certain things, set up my place a little bit. She loaned me certain things like furniture, you know, a vacuum, just little things that, you know, I would need moving into a place. And that's one thing I'll say, you know, coming from college, I've lived in one room for the last 5 years. You know, not physically one room, but, you know, in college, we stay in dorms, apartments, or we stay in a room in a house with our teammates or friends. Like, so I'm used to having my entire life in an 8x8, 5x5 square. And so, you know, and I also try to give up a lot of my stuff when I'm moving out because it's a pain to move everything. So, but I say that to say, like, when you go from living in one room to now I have my living room here, I have my room, which is where I'm recording this video, obviously. I have my guest room, which is opposite of me, like, you know, walk out to the living room, going there. I have my kitchen, I have my bathroom. So it's like from going to living in one room to living in, well, to now being responsible for up to 5 rooms, it's like, it's definitely a big adjustment. Like, you know, I'm not saying you have to be rich, but you're gonna need money to buy certain things. Like, at least the place I moved into, it didn't come fully furnished. Like, I know with some apartments or some places you can move into it and be fully furnished, so that gives you a little bit of a head start. Like, okay, you don't have to buy furniture, you don't have to buy just little things that you don't even think about. But for me, this place was empty. Like, it was vacant for months before I moved in here. So, you know, obviously I had to clean and stuff, but like, I had to bring everything. My bed, I mean, everything you see in here, I've either bought or been loaned. You know, obviously my gaming setup, and I'm thinking about doing a house tour whenever I get it all set up the way I like. You know, again, if y'all want to see that video, definitely let me know in the comments. But, you know, I had to set up everything here, like, and I mean, it wasn't much. You know, I didn't have much because I stayed in one room for the past 5 years, and I've, you know, been giving away clothes and items I don't really need or couldn't bring. You know, I drive a car, so I couldn't even bring all my stuff back from college. Some stuff I just left with my teammates, like a bed. I left a huge TV, just little. I mean, no, not little things, but like, so a fridge. But, you know, it's definitely a big adjustment, you know, going from that to now I'm responsible for 5 rooms. You know, I have to make my house feel like a home, so to speak. Like, I have to make my living room look nice, make my bedroom look nice, my kitchen look nice and presentable, my bathroom has to be good to go. So, you know, I'm not saying you have to be rich to get your own place, but, you know, it definitely costs money to make your house feel like a home. You know, I know you guys know the joke where people spend all their money on their security deposit and they're sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the air mattress, you know, and I respect everybody's hustle, but I knew for me, I didn't want that to be me. I knew when I moved in, I wanted it to feel like a home as soon as possible. So I've definitely, you know, spent a lot of my income making my house feel like a home. And yeah, she helped me find this place. You know, she went with me to multiple locations. She helped me talk to multiple people. She educated me throughout the entire process. Because, you know, I want to get into real estate. I'm actually going to end up working for her, hopefully, later on this year. She just educated me throughout the entire process of what it is to, you know, rent, buy a home. Same thing, chicken wing, tomatoes, tomato. It's all under the same umbrella. You know, like you have a place in your name. And that's what my private manager told me when I signed the lease. He said, even though you're renting, this is your home. Like, you own this place. Like, you know, so to speak, just for lack of better words, he told me exactly word for word, you own this place. Like, you're renting, but you own this place. This is your home. Like, I'm not going to show up unannounced. You're responsible for what goes on here. Like, this is your place. And so, yeah, man, you know, she really helped out a lot. And just having her as a resource to not use, but, like, work together with her to find out what works best for me and what do I really want, you know? Because I came in thinking I really wanted XYZ 1, 2, 3, but after a while of searching for that and maybe not having the success with that, or maybe saying, you know what, I don't really want that. Maybe I want, you know, this over here compared to what I originally wanted. And so, yeah, man, you know, once we found this place, I didn't know, you know, I'm not gonna say like it hit me like a dodgeball to the face or like a punch to the face, but like once I saw this place and I began looking over it, and especially once I visited in person, I was like, man, like it would be nice to live there. Like it stuck in the back of my mind. Again, it wasn't obvious like, oh yeah, you're gonna be here. This is gonna be your home for the next year. My lease is for a year. Then I can either move out or renew it. But it definitely stuck in the back of my mind. Like, man, that house is nice. Like I wouldn't mind staying there. I like the neighborhood. My house is tucked off into the cut, so it's actually kind of hard. It's actually kind of hard to find my house if you've never been here before. Like the people I have come over, I've had to go outside, call them like, hey, I'm over here, waving my hand. So, but definitely, it definitely stuck in my mind, and so I kept pressing on. I kept, you know, not blowing up, but I kept being consistent and persistent with the property manager, saying, hey, I'm really interested in this house. What do you need for me to move on? I talked to him on the phone. I emailed him. I talked to his partner, like who ran the property management company with him. I talked to her, and I was just very persistent in making sure I'm doing everything I can to get the house I want. Like, and I mean, it's not a mansion. I don't stay in a mansion. This isn't my dream home, obviously, but starting out, I really like my place. I like the way it's customized. Again, you know, I can do a house tour for y'all once I get it, you know, a little more set up. But I just made sure that I was doing everything I could to get what I wanted. And I think that's what it's really about. You know, even though I had a real estate agent, I'm trying to make her job as easy as possible. Like, whether that's her making a very direct, straightforward phone call saying, hey, my team is doing everything he can. What can we do to speed this process along? I made sure I was doing everything possible. I made sure I had my job. I made sure I had all the documentation. I made sure I paid and submitted my application. I made sure I checked up every day saying, hey, you know, we're one step closer. What can I do to speed this up? What can I do to help? What do you need from me? And I mean that's pretty much what it is about. You know, whether you're trying to buy or rent a home, you know, you have to go out there and be the hustler, like, because you know the bank's gonna have people come buy the home regardless. A landlord, if it's a good property, people are gonna come buy it regardless. But what makes you stand out, you know, and it's not making 6 figures or 10K a month, but it's just being consistent, being persistent, like saying, hey, I really would like to live here, you know. And a lot of places, they have the application fee to see if you're serious, you know. If the application was free, everybody would apply. And then they would have, you know, so many applications to weed through and vet and make sure, okay, who's serious, who's not. So at least, you know, paying for it and submitting the application, it shows the property management, the landlord, okay, this person's serious. They're willing to spend anywhere from $50 to $100 just to have a chance, just to see if they get approved. You know, that isn't even guaranteed, and it's not refundable. So, you know, they're losing out on it. And so, yeah, no, I was just real persistent with them. Submitted my application. Credit score came back great. You know, when I was signing my lease, my property manager told me, he was like, hey, man, you know, for a young guy, you have a really good credit score. I told him on the phone that before I even submitted it. And, you know, he was like, okay. I think he told me at the time, this was a few weeks ago, I think he told me mine was a 746. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a credit guru. I can give you simple advice, though. If y'all want to hear about it, I can do that in a separate video. But, you know, again, I'm 22 years old. And like you said, you know, I have a 750 credit score. Just being smart throughout the years. And so, you know, that helped. I know my security deposit, and every place is different, but my security deposit was based on credit score. So if you had a low credit score, it was higher. If you had a high credit score, it was lower. So because of my credit score, I got the absolute minimum amount they would charge me for my security deposit. So that was good. Background check, you know, I'm a college athlete, well, former college athlete, and I just got a new job, so I know I didn't have anything on I know I wasn't a felon. Like, I knew my background check was going to come back clear. And that's the main thing, you know. A lot of places are going to want to do a credit check and a background check. You know, if you're a regular law-abiding citizen, and even if you have average credit, you know, you're still going to get approved. I think for this place, the minimum was like 650, or it was 6 something, the minimum to get in here. So, you know, you don't have to have crazy high credit. You just have to pretty much be a law-abiding citizen with average credit, and you can pretty much get into anywhere. And, you know, for the most part, make roughly 3 times the monthly income. That's another big challenge, you know. The easy thing is the credit. For me, the easy thing is the credit and the background check. I know I'm going to pass those with flying colors. Never really committed a crime. You know, I have a few speeding tickets, but never done anything heinous or egregious. I know my credit's good just because I've been smart the past few years. However, you know, like I said, the biggest challenge for me was just the whole job aspect, you know, making sure my job paid at least 3 times my monthly rent here. So my rent here, I'll call it $1,000, but technically on paper, my rent here is $995 a month. That's just my rent. My utilities, I haven't even got my first utility check yet, or utility bill yet, so I don't even know what my utilities are. But my rent here is pretty much right at $1,000 a month. So that was a green light from the beginning. Seeing that the rent was very inexpensive. I like the house. It's in a good location. Like, I didn't buy a fixer upper. I know a lot of people are gonna think, oh, his rent's so, you know, cheap. I like the word inexpensive. His rent's so low, it has to be a fixer upper. He has to be living, you know, in a place that needs 1,000 different renovations. No. I mean, now I will say that there have been small things I needed to fix in this place. Like, I know right now my AC is getting fixed. That'll be fixed, I believe, tomorrow, at the time of this video, tomorrow. Just little things. I've had to get little things fixed, you know, something in the bathroom not working, sink leaking. So I've had to have my property manager, thankfully. That's where I rent, you know. That's one of the pros of renting. Someone else does all that stuff for you. You pretty much put in a maintenance request, or just text or call or email your property manager, your landlord, and it's their job to take care of it. You know, that's the good thing about renting. Now, if I was the owner, that would all be on me. You know, I would have to pay for it all. I have to schedule it all. You know, but with my property manager, I just shoot them a text and say, hey, so-and-so is not working, or so-and-so needs fixing. And it's their job to take care of it, and they pay for it too. Like, I don't have to pay for any of that stuff. So that's one of the good things about renting, you know. It just really depends on the situation. Do you need to rent, or do you want to rent, or do you want to own? So, but yeah, you know, like I said, there were little things I needed to have fixed before I moved in. I know right before I moved in, they did, you know, some more major things, like they repainted, they fixed the stove, they fixed the bathroom sink. So those are the bigger things. But it was a few minor things they fixed before I got here, and then a few minor things they fixed after I moved in. You know, when I was signing my lease and going through all the pages, my agent was here, thankfully, and there were little things she noticed that she wanted to be fixed for me that we made a note of. And, you know, obviously after I signed and gave my money, the very next day he was on it, fixing. My property manager was on it, having people come here and fix stuff. So it definitely wasn't a smooth, you know. This home was ready to move into, but there were little things that needed to be fixed. But yeah, so, you know, After being persistent with him, paying the application fee, him telling me everything came back good, we pretty much set a date to go over the lease. And you know, my landlord, my real estate agent, she was running late that day, and so the property manager was getting a little bit annoyed because he had another meeting to go to, another appointment to go to. But she showed up. We went through the property, we went through the lease, we signed everything. Everything was good. I handed him the money, and I got my keys. And I mean, it was one of the happiest days of my life. I mean, you know, I feel like in life there's certain stages, you know, like maybe it's getting your first car, going off to college, graduating college, buying your first property, you know, home, apartment, whatever, getting your first own, I guess just getting your first space on your own, maybe meeting your spouse, having a kid, retiring. Like it's just certain chapters and milestones in life. And I've definitely hit one, you know, I feel like getting my own place. Like I don't have a roommate. I'm the only person with keys to this place. Like it's I mean, it's great, and it's truly a blessing, man. Like I'll never forget it. Like I was so happy when I signed the last line of my lease, and you know, I was really even happier, you know, when I got the Wi-Fi working here. Like that was my main thing. Like, you know, I signed my lease, I think on a Thursday. I think it was the 26th. That's when I signed my lease, the 26th of March, 2023. And I didn't move in, like spend the night here, I think until like maybe 4 or 5 days later. Like I didn't spend the night here till the Wi-Fi got cut on. Like I had to schedule an appointment, all that. So once the Wi-Fi was on, that's when I spent my first night here. But yeah, I mean, the first few days of me technically having my place was just moving stuff in. It was cleaning everything, you know, bathrooms, toilets, sinks, vacuuming a whole bunch of times, cleaning everything, and then moving in. And once I moved in, it was setting everything up. So, you know, I ordered a lot of stuff off Amazon. You know, if I do my house tour, I definitely give links to everything. But a lot of stuff I had to build myself, you know, just little stuff like bed frame. I have it's actually right here. I have like a portable closet, I guess, a desk that all my stuff is on, my gaming desk. I had to move a lot of stuff, you know, furniture. So my first few days was just moving things in, cleaning, setting things up. And then once the Wi-Fi got cut on and I actually started living here, that's when it was okay. Let me make this a home. Let me start putting out things. Let me buy some more little stuff for the kitchen, for the bathroom. Let me just start setting things up to make it like a home, like customizing things. So, yeah, man. And the last big thing I got was my bed. My bed got off Amazon. Again, I'll leave a link whenever I make my home tour video if y'all want to see it. That was the last thing that came here. That took like over a week. And once that got here, I mean, I was good to go. Like, that was the last thing I needed. And let that inflate over a day or two. And, I mean, we've been good ever since. Like, that was the last thing I needed. And so, overall, I'd say the home buying process, looking back on it, if I was to do it over knowing what I knew now, I would definitely, you know, not spend any time looking to buy a home. I would go straight to renting. Any advice to anybody out there watching this that's my age, older, younger, you know, maybe you're 20 and you're in your sophomore, junior year, freshman year of college, and you know 2, 3, 4 years from now, you want to be in the same position I am. You want to be, you know, whether it's renting or owning, you want to have your own space, whether it's an apartment. You know, I have a single family property. I have a house. Like, I don't have a duplex. I'm my own building. Like, I have my own house, 1 story. But, you know, like I said, whether you want to be in an apartment, be in a multi-family property, be in a trailer, be in a townhome, like, you could be watching this video and know, okay, in a certain amount of time, I want to be there. So you just use this as motivation. And like I said, my advice is find your parameters. Know your budget, know your location, stuff like that. Like, know if you already have a job lined up, know how far you want to be from work. Like, or maybe you're trying to get the place first and then find the job, you know. But definitely my number one advice is get a real estate agent. You know, if you know somebody you're close to, like I said, I'm really close to mine. Like, she's like family to me. And that's actually who I stayed with. I stayed with her in her guest room for 9 days. Like, I lived with her for 9 days, and I got to shadow her and stuff. And, you know, obviously she helped me get my place, but I recommend getting a real estate agent. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give anybody. After you get your agent, you know, talk with them. Let them know what you want, how you want it, when you want it. You know, are you looking to move in the summertime? Are you looking to move 1 to 2 months from now? 1 to 3 months from now? Are you looking to move in as soon as possible? Are you looking to move next year? Like, I'm not going to say it's ever too early. Obviously, you know, if you don't plan on living somewhere for 2 years, I wouldn't call up an agent and say, hey, 2 years from now, I'm going to need help. Like, but I say once you get like less than 6 months, you know, especially 3 months, I start looking 2 months, but anywhere from like 3 to 6 months, you just never know the different obstacles and challenges that can come up when looking for a place. So anywhere from 3 to 6 months out from you knowing you want to move in, sign your lease, sign your deed, so to speak, that's when I say you should get an agent and let them know your parameters. You know, having an agent made this process a lot easier, and you know they do a lot of the negotiating, a lot of the hassling. They do a lot of the stuff that you wouldn't even think to do. You know, obviously I was persistent in contacting the company, the property management company, about this property, but my agent helped out a lot. She knew a lot of the lingo. There were things she negotiated and helped me out with it. I wasn't even thinking of. Like I said, when we were in here signing my lease, she was pointing out things that were wrong that she wanted fixed, and the property manager was like, you know what, you're right. Yep. And he actually said it to me. He was like, not a lot of agents come to these type of things, like especially for rentals. Not a lot of agents will show up at the actual lease signing or at the actual tour just because it's a rental. Like, you know, for buying a home, obviously, but for a rental, a lot of agents want to show up for that. That's what he told me. And so he was like, the fact that your agent's here just shows like you have a very good agent, and she's the best. I can't wait to start working for her. But yeah, you know, my agent just really did a lot for me, and so yeah, that's my biggest advice. My number one tip is to get an agent. I guess after that, you know, make sure you have the job. You know, the job is as essential as the agent, because without the job, you can't get a place. Like, at least if you have a job, you can find a place without an agent. Like, you don't need an agent, but an agent makes it a lot smoother, and they probably already know somebody that wants to have a tenant somewhere in a certain city. But, you know, make sure you find a good paying job or jobs. You know, I plan on getting a second job soon just because I want to. You know, whether that's, you know, you can have a main full-time job, but maybe you do Uber, DoorDash, you do, you know, little side hustles on the weekends and stuff in your free time. Maybe you stream, make content, but yeah, getting a good paying job is gonna help a lot too, because it shows the landlord owner that, okay, I have security with this person. Obviously they're gonna give me a deposit and all that, but I know they're making a certain amount of money every month, so they're probably gonna be more likely to afford and pay the rent. Obviously I can give more advice, but the last part is, you know, just don't try to rush the process. Like, you're not gonna go from, but even if you know the place you want to live, you're not gonna go from Monday not having anything to Saturday moving in. Like, it's not gonna happen that quickly. It's, you know, think about it. If you're applying for what you feel like is a good place, chances are other people are applying as well. I know some of the places I was interested in, they told me, hey, we're not taking any applications right now because we're currently reviewing one, which is good. You know, I'm glad they didn't just take my money and deny me anyways because someone's gonna move in. But you could be applying for a place and they say the same thing. Hey, you know, we're currently looking at one applicant right now. We're not going to take yours. Check back in within a few days. So, you know, definitely, you know, it definitely is annoying, and especially when you're urgent. You know, you want your own place. You know, maybe you have to have your own place by a certain date. Maybe your parents or your school is giving you a certain amount of time to find your own place. You know, maybe you don't. You know, for me especially, I'm not really close to my family, so I didn't really have any family members to stay with. So, you know, my sense of urgency was at an all-time high because, you know, obviously my agent, she let me stay with her place, but I don't want to stay with her forever. You know, I knew that I was a visitor in her home, and I just needed a little bit of time just to get my feet underneath me. So yeah, you know, enjoy the process. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's strenuous, but it's going to be a process regardless, you know. And I'm not saying you can't get it done in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but don't think, you know, Monday you have nothing, and then Thursday, Friday, okay, I'm moving in. Like, it's going to take as many checks and balances. A good landlord property management company is going to have multiple steps. Background check, credit check, employment verification, application, tours. You know, it's a multi-step process to owning a home, renting a home. Like, it just doesn't all happen. I can't really speak for apartments. I assume apartments are somewhat similar, you know. They're not just going to let anybody move in. Like, you're going to have to prove certain things, have meetings, take time, and especially, you know, again, if it's a good place, it's going to be a lot of yous out there trying to get that place. So you got to do something to make yourself stand out. But yeah, man, this was a fun video to make. You know, now that I have the space to have an actual setup now, you know, if you see my previous videos, you know, I've never had a face camera or anything like that. But now I have a camera. I have a new microphone, so hopefully this video sounded great. And yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to making a lot more videos now. And this is definitely a great milestone I hit in my life. Like I said, 9 days after I left my college, I was handed the keys to my new place. And yeah, you know, hopefully this video inspires a lot of y'all. You know, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if y'all want to hear about the other story times I mentioned, you know, from the prequel to this, you know, how I kind of got in this situation faster than expected. You know, just created a real estate advice I can give people. You know, I can make a host of a video dedicated strictly to just advice. But yeah, man, you know, I'm really looking forward to it. Like I love my new place. Like I'm here for the next year. I love it. I want to keep adding to it. You know, house tour, that's another video I forgot to mention as well. But yeah, thank y'all for watching, and see you next time. Hey man, I know it's dark. Y'all can't really see me, but on the way back to my crib right now, taking another load of stuff to move in. At the time of this video, I'm not gonna be moving in until later on this week, but it's just a blessing, bro. It's just a blessing. Like, I was kicked out of school 9 days ago, told I had to get off campus, and I done came back, you know, worked, did as much as I could, and now, you know, I have my own crib not even 2 weeks later. Like, it's truly a blessing, man. And, you know, biggest thing I can say from this is just have a plan. Know what you want to do, whether it's a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 3 months from now. Like, know what you want to do and have a plan. And it don't matter if you want to drop out of school, go to the military, quit your job. As long as you have a plan, that's all that matters.